And good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highline Activity Network. And kind of foggy out today.
Sure is.
Dense fog, and there's a little bit in my head too. But we are wrapping up the basketball season. The A and B state tournaments are going on today. The Division A is at the Fargo Dome. Division B is up at the Minot State Dome. And joining us this morning, Coach Jim McDaniel from the Highliner boys. The season already over. Kind of hard to believe, isn't it?
Morning, yes. It went, the winter goes fast when you're busy. Yeah. It was, I thought we finished all right, so.
Finished, I think more than all right.
Yeah.
But really, you look at, let's go back to that Region 1 tournament. I don't think anybody except the 15 guys in the Highliner locker room and some of the fans gave you a chance in that first game against Kindred.
I agree.
And because, as you and I have talked about, in that Region 1, anybody can beat anyone, and you proved it. Yes, Brooks Baca was not there, but you didn't have him the last game of the regular season either.
No, that's right. And Baco didn't play their last game against Oak Grove, and they handled Oak Grove, who we got beat the next night. So we played well that night, and we talked about as the season went on, as we took our lumps this year. I mean, just things that you can't control just happened, and we lost games. But yet, once tournament time, I thought I kind of liked the matchup against Kindred. I thought we could match up with them, and we played well. And all you need is that first game, and then now you have a chance.
Yeah.
And so I like how the guys handled it. We played about the best ball we played all year in that Kindred game.
Probably loose, and knowing you've got nothing to lose, let's just go out there and play ball.
Yeah, and the guys. I mean, they all. The attitude of everything, the bus trip up, it's just like almost like they kind of expected that's what we're going to do, and I think a lot of teams in the state were Highliner fans that night. I think everybody likes to see Kindred go home because defending state champs, they've been the Region 1 champs, and we get to be the team that knocks them out, and so they get to see what it's like. So
yeah, now they have to sit at home and watch the state tournament and wonder, what if?
Yes.
Of course, Jack Dieterle, I think 31 points, 10, 11, 12 rebounds, something like that, had a phenomenal game for you.
He did, and I thought we balanced. I thought it was balanced all around. That's the opportunities that were there. They were having a hard time stopping him. We were finding him. I thought we rebounded well and things like that. I don't think they controlled the boards. Where I thought we rebound maybe our best game ever. Our turnovers were down. It was all around. Every guy that was on the floor did their job, and the outcome, that's what happens. And again, it kind of sells what we talked about all year.
Yeah.
If everybody looks for everybody, we play as a team. Our defense is, I thought all our guys played, pretty lockdown defense. And you take the opportunities that are there. When they present themselves, you take advantage. That's what we did, and it was a nice win.
If you're going to play 32 minutes of basketball, that's a good time to do it.
Yes, and it was kind of cool as you don't really realize it necessarily in the game, but we never trailed.
Yeah, right.
And all year long, we were playing catch up all the time. We would have a tough first quarter.
Yeah.
We'd be down by 8 or 10, and then you're just trying to play catch up the entire game. And that night, it was 2-0, and from that, they never led.
No.
And so that was we weren't used to that, but we handled it well.
Which is that could be a worry of yours. You start getting in your head, we're not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah, yes, and every time, because there was a stretch there where we had a pretty nice lead, maybe an 8-9 point lead. And before you know it, it was back down to a 1 or 2 point lead. And every time they did that, we responded, and we got it right back to 7. It was so the guys, great game. It was a fun locker room after.
Oh,
the guys were. It was fun walking into that locker room after that game.
It almost looked like after the game, before the handshake line, some of the players, the look was like, did we do what I think we just did?
Yeah,
It was almost a look of shock.
Yeah, and and I think, you could tell as we got down to, about a minute, you're like, we're gonna win this thing, and so I was proud of the guys.
Oak Grove the next night in the semifinals, because now you're guaranteed 2 more games.
Yep.
and still have that shot at getting to state. Oak Grove, a very good basketball team, but you played with them the last time. I think it was a 9-point game.
Yep.
Last game of the regular season. Just your thoughts there about the Grovers.
Well, I thought, the second quarter, we were just talking about how well we played,
Right.
and then the second quarter was really awful. We rushed stuff. Defensively, we let them get kind of some easy stuff. They're good shooters. You got to get out on everybody. And so second quarter, kind of killed us. First quarter, it was back and forth. We were a little behind there, but then that second quarter shows up. And then we kind of play even basketball the whole rest of the game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been what's happened all year long. It's a stretch of bad basketball. We get behind, and it's hard to catch up. The next night we play Wapaton, and I watched Wapaton in that qualifying game, and they got up on Grafton. Grafton was kind of doing what we would tendency to do during the year. They were shooting quick, and I'm like, watching that game, you're like, you're not going to get a chance to win because Wapaton will not give you enough chances, and
Right.
and that's kind of what happened, with Oak Grove, where we got behind, and it's hard to catch up.
Yeah.
When teams are good. Once you get behind by that many, you don't have enough trips, even if you play perfect basketball.
I think I look at the numbers. The first, third, and fourth quarter, I think it was only like a 4 or 5 point game.
It was.
It was just that second quarter.
Yes.
And like you said, that's kind of been your modus operandi all year. It
It
doesn't
has.
take much.
No, and again, in Class A basketball, the teams are so closely matched that once you give up those points, they are so hard to come back. It's hard to make a run, to get back tied or, when the competition is so good.
Right. Wapaton game, then the third place game, again, still have that shot, a win, and you're playing
Yeah.
again on Saturday. And Wapaton's got a couple of good guys with Steffens and Gilbertson. And they've been a thorn in your side all year.
They kill us all the time. And we watched the game before and kind of kidding around with Coach Ralph, after they had won that game. Both Gilbertson and Steffens didn't have a great game the game prior. They did enough, but they didn't shoot that well, uncharacteristic of those guys. But, of course, when we play them, they're lights out every time. They are tough to defend. They are both good shooters. They take the ball to the basket well. They find other guys when you all of a sudden you try to leave a guy to help that Wapaton game, I thought we played pretty good.
Right.
But those two guys just they kind of killed us a little bit. So.
And they have a good all-around team with Cummings down low, and they've got a good supporting cast, but they're the main.
They
dogs.
are, yeah, and they're very disciplined, and they do what they do, and they do it well, and that's kind of I think when we've played our best basketball, when we're doing and running the things that we're supposed to run, I think we do a pretty nice job. When we get to where we waste trips, where it's just like, why are we shooting that shot? I always wanted with our size to get a touch inside before we start, and when we were doing that, I thought we were playing our best ball. When all of a sudden they would take away that, or when they'd really pressure our guards and having a hard time getting it inside, that's where we struggled.
Overall, just your thoughts on the year. There's if it's and buts were candy and nuts.
Yeah.
A lot of those. Boy, we were that close. Just your thoughts overall on this season.
Well, it's a great group of guys to travel around the eastern part of the state and go to games. They worked hard. Practices were fun. It's just a fun group of guys to be around and get to. It's an honor that they get to call you coach. It's a fun title to have. And so our seniors, we got. They're going to be tough to replace. We got guys that a lot of basketball experience that are graduating. Plus, we had those guys that just brought some really great leadership to the gym every day that we need. Good, solid senior men that's how we want Valley City, public school.
Yeah.
We want guys like that. And so to have them on our team, to travel around, and to lead the younger guys and things like that. Hopefully our numbers start improving, but yeah, we got some seniors that are tough to replace.
Good foundation that they set
Yes.
for future, because they were with you for 3 years.
Yep.
And they really, well, most of them.
Yep.
Except for your 3 hockey players and they brought that leadership.
Yes.
Trey and Caleb and Corbin. Yeah, they didn't see the floor, but they brought that senior leadership and probably a little cohesiveness too.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, they're just, they led of how you're supposed to behave, and just there are a lot of things that you don't even talk about with having those seniors, just on the bus when you stop at a restaurant. Again, just good guys to, fun to, even if you're not talking basketball or anything, just to have a conversation with. So yeah, we're gonna 7 of those guys won't be there next year, and they bring a lot. Whether and a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with basketball.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's something that gets lost.
It
I
does.
think.
Yes.
In this day and age, you think about what they do on the court, and it's like, there's more to it than that.
It is. The whole thing of team and, just how you carry yourself, all of those type of things. The successful teams aren't only good at the basketball skills. They carry themselves a different way. And I thought we had a group of seniors that, that's how they behaved, and that's how they want to be. They want a team that kind of honors that. So.
Right. At the end, after the game in Wapton, did you have any message for that group as you were leaving that locker room at Shields? You look at your guys that are coming back, your underclassmen, and then you look at your JV, your 7th and 8th graders. A good group of 7th and 8th graders are on their way.
Are on their way, yes. And I think that's going to help the numbers. We need more guys in the gym.
Yeah.
We just do. We had, 19 this year. We need 25. We need more. Yeah. And right now, we only had 1 sophomore. That's going to follow its way through.
Right.
So that's hard. Yeah, it was. Of course, the seniors, especially those guys that had been playing basketball their entire. It's tough. No matter when you play, you're going to have one of those where that was the last game.
Right.
Whether you win it all at the end, it's
right.
just you're a little more excited maybe on that, but you're going to have a game that's going to be the last one. So it's kind of a shock maybe for those guys in the locker room where this is it, and they all of a sudden kind of realize it,
Right.
And but yeah, the locker room, you really saw the idea of team in there, where everybody was, there was hugs and patting guys on the back and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it always is a little bit of emotional in there, but yeah, it was good.
Only one team gets to win the last game of the year.
That's right. And well, they get to win and get a championship. A couple of years ago, we got to win. We got a 5th place, and so that was to end on a win would have been nice. But again, we kind of focus on that Kindred game, and we talked about that in the locker room that last night, where it's all about tournament time, and you got to win that first one or you go home.
Yeah.
And even though we had our bumps all the way along the season, that game we stepped up to give ourselves a chance, and that's what you got to have every year.
Yeah.
You want to have a chance.
Well, you look at the Division A. Any thoughts on? I think Wahpeton is one of those teams that could be a sleeper, but Central Cass Wahpeton from our region are in there. Any thoughts? You played 3 or 4 of the teams that are in the state tournament this year.
Yeah. Well, Castleton is tough. I mean, if they're playing their best basketball, they're tough to because they can kind of do it in all ways.
Right.
And so, but Wahpeton, they do a lot of things right. Yeah, it's going to be. Devils Lake, they're playing good. They got those guys back, and so the thing about Class A, every team that's, again, you better play, because if you don't, the team that's not supposed to win will win.
Will win.
Yeah. Makes it exciting.
That's why Kindred is watching from home.
Yes. Yep.
That's another story. Coach, again, appreciate it all year long. Look forward to the future, but congratulations. It was, yes, the record-wise, but still I feel a successful year because you guys finished out the year, you played well in the region tournament, and it's a year you can look back on and say, we did our best.
Yes, and we talked about it all year. It's frustrating,
Yeah.
you know, through the course of the year where there were some games that we should have won and we didn't. You know, I think both Lisbon games you know, in Devil's Lake when we played rugby. I mean, there's games out there that I think we could have had.
Yeah.
I think Northern Cass there. Again, we had a bad stretch in there, but there's more to the season and everything than what the win. You know, and I think, you know, sometimes we talk about that, but we get focused on the wins and losses sometimes. Right. The part that they remember going on is a lot more than whether we won this game or lost it. You know, you kind of forget some of those things because I think back, those aren't the things that I think of. It's all the other things, and those guys, they excelled in those other things.
Yeah.
You know, not only in basketball, but everything they do.
Everything they do.
Yep.
They're going to be a successful group of young men.
That's right.
Down the line.
That's right.
All right, Coach, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet. Coach Jim McDaniel joining us from Highlander Boys Basketball. We're back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on a Highlander Activity Network. And welcome back to another edition of Coach's Corner. As we mentioned, wrapping up the 2025-2026 basketball season as the Division A boys and Division B boys going on this week for their state tournament starting today. And now we'll wrap up the girls basketball season with Coach Jimmy Howard. Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
You tired of talking about it?
No. I don't think it's fully sunk in yet,
Right.
But exactly what, last year was making history, and has that fully sunk in? I don't know. But going back to back, like, I mean, I know we brought a lot of kids back, and the expectation was that we should probably be in that game again, but just the whirlwind of everything and how the season kind of wound down to bring home another state title was, I don't know. I don't know if it'll sink in. I don't know if it'll sink in until like that 25-year reunion where you're
Right.
like, oh,
We did that?
Yeah, and not only is it school history, right, first back-to-back and whatever, and we had the first girls, so it's, everything is new, but it's also the first one in Class A for the state, so
Right.
that's kind of cool as well.
You got a lot to hang your hat on. But when you look at, go back to the Region 1 tournament, and then you get upset by Central Cass. I mean, you still battle back, come back and beat Wahpeton. We've talked about it. Was the attitude of the team still, we're okay, we're good. We're this, we lost, yes, but we still can do what we got to do.
I think so. When I walked into the locker room after the Central Cass game, I believe Bryn Leak was saying like, hey, guys, this happened during volleyball, and look, we still made the state tournament, and and I think some of them had that mindset because that had just happened in volleyball for some of them, and so I think the belief in knowing where we were and how good we actually were when we played to our fullest potential gave us a lot of hope. But I mean, you look at the first 3 quarters of Wahpeton, I would say hope was, a strong word there. But once again, just the belief in what we do and how good they are, and they are good when you just let them go. But when we just let them go this season, we were getting beat on cuts and different things, and it just wasn't working. And so for them to be able to pull it together there and then just have that belief, that extra chance, it was just kind of like every time it was like girls, like after the Wahpeton game, it was like, here's an extra chance. Like, and then we were down 2 with 25 seconds to go, and then we win that game. It's like we're not supposed to be here. And so I think they just played with, I mean, you saw the best version of us through the Carrington, Devils Lake, Thompson, South Prairie Max run, which if you look at that was beating the number 2 team in the state, the number 3 team in the state, and the number 1 team in the state. So if you want to say, you have to earn it, I think we earned it.
Yeah, talk about a gauntlet. That was definitely it. And you look at this team all year long, leading up to the region tournament, and I think you and I talked about this. You're expected to win. Okay, we put this game up, but I think we talked after the Wahpeton game. From here on out, you're going to be underdogs. Is that something you guys thought too, or not? Or still a target on your back?
I don't know if we necessarily thought, we got to the, Thompson is supposed to win this game, and we were the 3 seed, so if you just take the seeding part of it, right, we're the 3 seed, shouldn't beat the 2 seed, we're the 3 seed, we shouldn't beat the 1 seed, and really from last season through this season, like the end of last season through this season, South Prairie Max was picked to be the team. They got a lot of extremely talented players, very well coached, very good team, and rightfully so. It was their, they had the, it's their tournament kind of to lose. And so you don't have that same pressure on top of you. Plus, what we had just kind of gone through, it kind of took the pressure off because, hey, we probably should have not won the the Wahpeton game is the crazy one to me. Carrington was, we kind of gave it up and took it back right at the end, but we're just playing with house money at this point, and so I think there was some relief, and we just played, and the kids just had fun, and it wasn't so much about getting back there once we were there. Then it was just about, going out and doing what we do and enjoy it. Yeah,
enjoy the moment. Enjoy that. Now, you look at, of course, when the season wraps up, a lot of seniors that are wrapping up their careers. Probably the biggest senior class you've had in a while.
I believe so, since I think I had 5 when it were, no, I think I had 6.
Okay.
When I had like Taryn Dieterle, Michaela Walla, Josie Burnson, Megan Roswick, Molly Doctor. Oh, I'm sure I missed Grace Shear.
Grace Shear, yep.
Probably missing one. It's been a while, but since that group, that was
Yeah.
a big group as well.
Right.
That had done a lot of positive things in the program and kind of helped us kind of build back up to expecting a home playing game in the EDC and getting ourselves to that first day at the Shack and the opportunity. So yeah, it's a good group. It's definitely, you know, if you look at wins and losses, it's probably the most winningest group.
Yeah.
For sure the winningest group I've had come through, but you know, it's a good group of kids. We talked about leaving the jersey in a better place than when you found it, and that doesn't have to do with wins and losses. And I think towards the end of the season, we were struggling with some of that. And I think now that the season's over, you can look at how the state tournament went, and not necessarily the scores of the wins and losses, but how we played. And they can walk away saying they left the program in a better place.
And each one did something different. You had your starters, you had your one or two off the bench that played a lot of minutes off the bench, and so all 6 of them contributed in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and you know, Rylan Johnson's one that didn't get a lot of playing time. Was a captain, voted in because of her qualities for that. And she worked hard in practice every single day. You know, I know that the one thing she said is she likes to say she's getting Katie Burchell ready, but she is. You know, and she's another 5'11" long kid that, you know, now we have to work against. And so, you know, and then she was always a positive supporter of the kids on the bench. And then Kinley Suffolk, another kid that just positive kid, had big contributions during the season in different games. The Wahpeton game, she was in that fourth quarter, and she played really well. She was also a 2-year captain, voted in because of her qualities of the team. And so those two were very big in that part. And then you have Kaylee Nielsen coming back from injury this year, and just happy to see her get back on the floor. You know, and then she probably isn't on the basketball side like she used to be able to get up and down the floor really quick, and jump and block shots. And I think some of that was affected with the knee, so she had to change her game a little bit. And so, but she had key contributions through the season. I think like the home game against Kindred, I think she hit some key threes in that game in the first half and kind of got things rolling. And so, you know, she had her moments, and then, you know, Maddie had a phenomenal state tournament.
Yeah.
And she was a big contributor all season. She's that 3-point shooter that everyone's got to drift towards. And she really grew up this year as far as like shot selection, maturity, being more efficient with some of that. And then Dakota was a defensive stopper. Her numbers, you know, she didn't always have the highest points or things like that, but she was, you know, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals,
Yeah.
held her girl the state tournament. I believe she held 2 of the top scorers to like 5 of 20 from the field and 5 of 18, like very good defensively. And then Katie Koka, just another athlete, defensive player. We could put her on the next player, or if Coda was out, we'd slide her over. Her job was to play defense and hit some threes, which, you know, she was not hesitant to shoot, which was awesome. And she was on. I mean, there were games they went guard her at the beginning. She'd hit 2 threes. Now they got to step out. But she knew her role and her position with that. And so, yeah, there's 6 kids walking away that I don't think I missed anyone.
Nope, you didn't.
All right.
I was counting.
Okay, 6 kids walking away that are a big part of the program and are going to be missed, regardless if people say, well, you got these kids coming in that'll slide into some of those positions. Yes, we do, but it's a big group walking away that's going to be missed.
And a foundation that they set, just like I talked with Jim, with his 7 seniors, with these 6, pretty much played for you 3-4 years in some cases. And the foundation they set for those younger players. And, okay, gals, here it is. Now you take it.
Yeah, you know, and I look back at when we were in the EDC, and, you know, it would be like Lexi Andrasik's Courtney Lloyd and Mackenzie Peterson's senior year, that kind of reset our foundation. And then the next year would have been the group of 5 or 6 that I had that kind of took it to the next step. And then we kind of had that foundation through the EDC of what we were expecting. Now this group, we move into Class A, and now into schools our size and things like that, and the foundation's been set that the expectation is, and I shouldn't say the expectation is you get to state, but the expectation is that we compete every single night in every single game. And if you do that, it takes care of itself. And I think, walking through the hallways and you're high-fiving the kids, that some kid at Washington or Jefferson is like, hey, I want to be a part of that. I want to experience that, this walking through the hallway thing. And hopefully it helps to bring our numbers up in the elementary.
Fun year. Tough to, like we say with Jim, December 1st to now, boy, that flew by. The winter sports, even though the longest on the calendar, still seems to go by quick.
Yeah, and I would say, we hit after Christmas break, and that's when we started playing 3 games a week, and sometimes more, and it was just and then all of a sudden it was we have senior night coming up, and it's Region 1 tournament time.
Yeah, it's, I guess time's up. Final question, you look at when you had the welcome home and the girls come through the big garage door, they see the crowd in the stands. A little bit different than last year, because last year I think we did the day after the state championship. This year, you're fresh off it, you're walking in. That's got to make the girls just be in awe of the situation of what they have accomplished.
I think the experience was, it was just phenomenal. We drive by the Sanborn Fire Department's got their trucks out on the overpass. They lit up their lights and honked the horns, and then we got to the exit where we got picked up by our fire department and drove into town, and we had all the parents following us and people on the streets that were waiting, and the sign that A&B Construction had up. I think that really led into this is a huge deal, and then we get here and all the people that were in there, and I told my wife, I said it was, last year was awesome. It was really nice to come in on Sunday, have everyone at the Eagles and things like that. But it was different and a little more fun because you actually celebrated the night you won.
Right.
And, when you walk in, they got the huge banner and everything's in there. And, the girls had some impromptu speeches and were told, hey, you got to talk quick. And so I just thought, the support from the community showing up for them just, I think sets home how important or how rare this actually was.
So they'll look back. Like you said, that 25th anniversary, heck, the 10-year anniversary and the 15th, they'll look back and wow, that was fun. Well, not like at Mayville, Portland's with Cheryl Solberg from Valley City. They were honored at halftime of the championship game, and so now you guys can look forward to that in my quick math, 2051 coming back.
Yep, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
And
you'll be a grandpa by then.
Jeez, I would, my daughter, my oldest one, for sure, should but.
Let's not put the cart before the horse, Dad.
But, and do you come back, I don't know how that works, but do you go 1 year and come back the next year? Do they do it all in 1 year?
Right.
I think that's where some of that, and then seeing all those kids come back will be a really cool experience, so.
Well, Coach, appreciate it. Another fun year. Now the work begins for next year.
Yes.
The off-season stuff. Give them some time to breathe, and then they can they'll do their track and their softball and the stuff they do in the spring, and then we'll worry about next year.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, and go Highlanders.
Coach Jimmy Howard joining us from Highland Girls Basketball. Back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here at Coach's Corner on the Highline Activity Network, and now with sports season, we're taking a little hiatus. We're going to talk about activities, music in particular, and Valley City Junior High and High School Director Teddy Dimmer joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Good. I'm fabulous. Your first time on the show,
Yes.
so we'll be gentle here.
Okay, perfect.
Well, easy questions. But we know we just had a music festival competition
Yes.
here recently. How did things go for the Highlanders?
Things went really well. Actually, we just completed 2 festivals. So on Wednesday, March 4th, I brought the senior high band to NDSU, and we competed at the Raging Red Band Festival there. That is a huge, 3-day festival with over 50 bands perform, and our Highlanders received a bronze rating, so I was really happy with that. And then just last week on Wednesday, March 11th, I brought the band and the choir to Carrington for Region 5 large group contest. Our band received a star from one of our judges and a rating of a 1 from one of our judges. And then the choir received 2 stars from both of their judges. So yeah, it's been a really successful few weeks for our musicians. Yeah.
What are they basing it on? What's kind of the judging criteria? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, so we get judged kind of on the performance as a whole. So obviously notes, rhythms, style we get judged on. Blend is a big thing that we talk about with large ensembles, like one part is not sticking out too much, or in just how unified they sound. And then they also get critiqued or judged on how they just present themselves while performing. So things like posture, things like facial expressions, all of those things.
Did you do anything like that in high school?
Yes, I went to a few of those competitions myself in high school. Yeah, so.
So you've been there, done that.
Yes, and it's been fun being on the other side of things now as I guess the director of it all.
Well, your first year.
Yes.
Right out of VCSU, and you come here, and how has that first year been working with Valley City students?
Yeah, I will say this is my second year teaching, so I spent 1 year in Minnesota teaching, and then I moved back to Valley City, and yeah, it's been an awesome experience. Yeah, I think it's just been a really positive year, and the kids have grown so much as musicians themselves, and I think just all of my experiences at college, I got a lot of hands-on experience there, and then I think my year of teaching in Minnesota also helped really prepare me for this year. Yeah.
When you do the music at these competitions,
Yep.
do you pick it? Do they
Yes.
tell you what kind of music they're looking for?
No, I pick all the literature, and so I spent a good chunk of Christmas break just listening and listening and listening, deciding what pieces would be, I guess, appropriate for a competition, because usually you don't want anything too modern or too, they don't want to listen to pop music, they don't want to listen to musical theater, they want to
Okay.
listen to more classical sounding music.
Right.
And then I also decide music based on what I think our groups are capable
Okay.
of, and what they're capable of, and what's just a slight push above to give them that real challenge. Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
degree of difficulty.
Yes,
if you
exactly.
will.
Yeah.
And you don't want to make it too difficult,
Exactly.
but we want you to improve and grow. So
That's the goal. Yeah.
let's push the envelope
Yes.
a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Coming up, some spring concerts coming up.
Yes. Yeah, we have our junior high concert. That'll be 7th and 8th grade band and choir, and Washington band and choir with Michelle Keatsman is going to join us on Monday, May 4th. And then the senior high band and choir will be performing on Monday, May 11th.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll have here at the Hack.
Yes, here at the Hack. Yeah.
We'll make sure we know where we're at. And when we
Yes.
get closer to that day, we'll have you back on
Perfect.
and talk more about that. You talked about Michelle. I think, was it one of the tournament games? You guys kind of combined bands. How fun was that?
Oh, it was such a blast. Because she brought almost, I think it was 40 elementary schoolers over to play pep band with my high schoolers, and it was so much fun because we were able to play some music together, and then her kids got to listen to my band play some of the longer pieces that we play, and it just was overall a really fun night. And yeah, there was a lot of there was a lot of smiles in the crowd from what I could tell. So
And that's kind of something, you talk sports, or you talk about the youth and, building a team that's going to help you and as
Oh,
a teacher,
absolutely.
get
Yeah.
those kids to stay excited music and stay in that. When you have someone like yourself and Michelle as your music directors, how can you not enjoy what you do?
I hope so. I try to make it fun. We do a lot of good work, and we take it seriously, but I try to make it an enjoyable experience as well. Yeah.
It should be. I mean,
Yes,
music
exactly. And that's why we do it, because we love it. So, yeah.
What instrument did you play?
I'm a clarinet player.
Clarinet player.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what you. And did you ever have to jump in and play? Because you usually had a good contingent of kids that would show up at games.
I was just I've not had to jump in here and play, which I don't know, I kind of miss playing. So almost part of me is like, oh, I almost like want to pick up my clarinet or saxophone and jump in and join them. But they've got it handled. They do really well.
You got the community band if you really feel the
Yeah,
need.
yes, that is true. Yeah.
You really feel the need. Well, Teddy, we appreciate you joining us. And again, when we get into May and get closer to those concerts, we'll chat a little bit more. And
Awesome.
You did well for your first time.
Okay,
so
thank you.
You're good. Now you're going to be a
Yes.
pro at this.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
Yeah.
That is Teddy Demmer. She is the junior high and senior high music director here at Valley City Public Schools. We'll be back and wrap things up here in Coach's Corner from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner here on the Highlight Activity Network, and boy, things are slowing down. We're going to be off here for a while before we get back into the sports world in middle of April when baseball, softball, track and field gets started. I know indoor track just had a competition at Concordia, and chat with Trevor Bacalar, and we'll get more on that coming up here that first week in April. And one thing, I know he's going to get mad at me, but I'm going to say it anyway. Robotics team for Valley City, hey, they're going to the Worlds at the end of April, and I'm trying to convince him and his teammates, and I'm looking at him. We're going to have him on and talk a little bit about that experience. So they're going to the Worlds for robotics here coming up at the end of April. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Coach's Corner. I want to thank our guests, Jim McDaniel, Jimmy Howard, and Teddy Dimmer, and of course, as usual, Beckett Ness, our technical director, camera operator here as well. We'll be back April 2nd. That'll be our next show, and we'll be getting into the spring sports season when we come back here in a couple of weeks. Thanks again for joining us here on Coach's Corner, live from the Hack on the Highland Activity Network.